Well, good morning, everybody. I guess I'll just begin with a short prayer. O God, be with us in the preaching and hearing of these words. My name is Dr. Roger Petrie. I'm a philosophy professor at Lutheran College. I think you all know me. Pastor Craig asked if I could give a sermon today. He actually gave me a choice between two Sundays, and I actually thought this one was quite interesting because it's all focusing on the issue of honor and status. So for most of us, a prominent example of seeking honor and avoiding dishonor is maybe the number of views on our social media posts, and in particular the number of likes and dislikes. Turn back the clock 2,000 to 3,000 years, and the social forms were quite different. The first reading from Proverbs sets out how we ought to come before kings. Nowadays, maybe we would think of protocols if we were ever to meet the Prime Minister or the President, or maybe King Charles. The reading from Hebrews talks about a more commonly held status, namely as citizens, and how we relate to those who break the law and end up in prison. It also talks about our homes, in particular the status we have as husbands and wives relative to our spouses, and finally those who seek status through wealth. Lastly, in the Gospel reading, Jesus speaks about those who introduces a parable to teach a lesson about banquets of this life and the strategic value of humility, and also the workings of the divine banquet in the afterlife. It is in this last setting, that of maybe throwing parties and having banquets, that I want to focus on, given the centrality of this social setting in the ancient world. The ancient world was organized around important families, whether or not they were priestly, although often they could be. And these families ran the ancient agrarian societies, who were supported by their clients and underlings, who in turn were supported by slaves. Having social status meant having all the trappings that came with it: power and political influence, wealth, security, and of course pleasures and amusement. Religiously, the social standing could extend to a wealthy family's support for religious ceremonies, sacrifices, lavish tombs, and it was thought that this might even help secure one's family's fortunes in the afterlife. Much like the mafia today, codes of honor and reciprocity shaped banquets or other amusements that cemented privileges. But it also shaped one's identity and sense of self. Wherever you were on the social ladder, there was always somebody worse off, and generally they knew it, and the loss of one's social standing was something to be feared. The Roman Empire, however, also disrupted ancient social relations, making the striving for new honors and offices a real possibility, albeit for relatively few. Now, this might all seem in the distant past, but of course it isn't. I recall first being initiated into such systems when in high school, where friendships and popularity were the currency of the day. However, even in the last 2 weeks, I attended the rock concert Shake the Lake in Waskata Park. Enjoyed it. Once I arrived with my lawn chair and my early bird pass, I soon discovered there were privileges previously unbeknownst to me. Special pavilions protecting those from inclement weather, elevated seating to get a preferred view of rock bands, fenced-off bars with special drinks, and indoor suites. And there was even a stretch limo that was longer than my garage. And to speak up for my garage is a respectable lake. So rather than listening to the music and enjoying my churros, there I was scheming about next year's Shake the Lake. How might I unlock these privileges? Who did I need to know? What connections did they have? Well, some of this, of course, is said tongue-in-cheek, or is it? The scriptural readings today point to a very different logic to navigating social standing. The reading from Proverbs attributed to King Solomon and the first part of today's gospel both display a very practical view that appeals to one's self-interest, though surprisingly humility. To use the language of marketing, if your public face is your brand and you are demoted in front of others, that is more costly to your brand than if you intentionally take a lower social position and are elevated before your peers. Such a stance might also be valuable, though, from another practical standpoint, namely human psychology. We invariably have an elevated opinion of ourselves. To have our standing validated by the judgment of those around us might be a truer assessment of whether we merit some particular honor rather than our ability to strategically seek it for our own. However, and I guess I'll bring up some philosophy here, however, ancient philosophers were quick to emphasize the futility of such strategic networking. Rather than external appearances, one needed to assess and develop the underlying excellences or qualities that merited receiving a particular honor or privilege or office in the first place. Being honored was something external and potentially awarded for a whole variety of reasons that, in the absence of merit, often due to hidden internal qualities, receiving these would be quite irrelevant. In fact, it was the Chinese philosopher Confucius, who was also writing back at that time, who said, holding rank without an actual internal beauty, or conducting a ceremony without actual internal relevance, or mourning the loss of others without actual grief, why should I cast them a glance? All right, so that was important. Digging into the excellences that merited honors or recognition, both then and now, requires asking hard, difficult questions about ourselves and finding ways to go beyond our own self-deception. Ancient philosophers sought to employ scholarly criteria to the task, while many modern professionals are trained in the arts of personal growth and development. Confucius realized that those who were committed to such personal development and transformation could end up diverging from the society around them, and warned of accepting honors under such circumstances. He writes that a person of simple faith who loves learning, who guards and betters his way even unto death, will not enter a tottering kingdom. I love that word, a tottering kingdom, one that's a shaky kingdom.